Good morning, the internet. My name's Josiah, and today I want to talk about not having two parties. For some long time, we've had predominantly two parties, two political parties at the national level. Which ones, what they've stood for has changed, but we've usually had two parties. Agreed about some things, disagreed about a bunch of other things. But they had a set of values that they were putting forward about how government should be run. And what we have now is, at best, one party. The Republican Party has been co-opted by billionaires and corporations to such a degree that they no longer even care to pretend like they're acting as a governing party. They're just hacks for their donors. This became undeniable to me and clear to me with the reversal on Supreme Court appointments. They ignored Garland for 10 months, and they're putting Amy Coney Barrett forward with three weeks left. And there's just no way to interpret that behavior as anything other than power for power's sake. The rules that govern their behavior, the actual descriptively accurate accounting of how they think government works is power for power's sake. If you can, you will. That there are no values aside from power. And the Democrats are still acting as if they're in a political competition amongst two people with competing sets of values. And I mean, that's technically true, but it's not politically true, right? Because if one group of people would like to play hockey and the other people want the trophy by any means, that's no longer two groups of people playing hockey. That's a criminal power grab at a hockey rink. And that's what we're looking at now. They're clearly willing to do anything, say anything. Hypocrisy does not begin to describe Lindsey Graham's behavior. To see him say, hold the tape. I won't put forward a nominee in the last year after the primaries start. And then to have him, push forward, not just push forward, but he's actually not getting tested for COVID so he can go to the committee meetings, because if he had COVID, he might not be able to go. So he's willing to risk, and this is actually sort of, again, like maybe the most virtue I've ever seen out of the man. He's willing to risk his own life. And, he's willing to risk his own life to put forward this Supreme Court nominee, which, again, is like the closest thing to virtue I've seen out of a Republican since Trump tried to pretend that he wasn't sick standing on the White House steps after he got out of the hospital. It's, to be clear, you can have courage in acting a bad cause. And also, obviously the real problem there is that he's willing to risk the lives of everybody he works with so that he can push forward a candidate that, by his own hold the tape words, doesn't deserve to be present, doesn't deserve to be there. And listening to her lie and claim that she doesn't remember things, and I can barely listen to her talk at all in those hearings, because she is not there as a proponent of a legal theory. She is there as a proponent of a moral theory, which she is going to use legal techniques to enact. She doesn't care about the law. She cares about her idea of morality, which is a religious morality, which is not okay. I also disagree with it, but even if I agreed with it, it'd still be bad. The Supreme Court justices should be concerned with the law and how the law ought to work, primarily, and not primarily with a religious moral scheme. So now the Democrats are in a political debate with someone who doesn't believe in politics. Right? The Republican Party does not care, is not interested, and I don't know how long they haven't cared. It's been a while, but it's in the last couple of weeks that it's become shockingly just so clear, so undeniable that what we have is a anti-legal power structure towards the benefit of established power as it stands against all comers. And I wish that the media could figure that out. I wish that the general media could talk about Mitch McConnell as opposed to American values. Right? He's not for democracy. He's for money, and he's for power. And you wouldn't talk about him as a senator if you took that on board seriously. He's an electoral aberration. He represents 100 people in the whole country, 1,000. Whoever's rich enough for him to count them as powerful. And all of this ends up being racist. All of this ends up being sexist. Because this is power for power's sake. And who has the power? The people who unfairly had it to start with. And what are they afraid of? They're afraid of sharing it. And it's maybe the end of our constitutional order. It's maybe the end of the rule of law to the extent that we had it. And it is an entirely different beast from two political parties with different sets of values. It is a political party and a power structure in debate, in a wildly dishonest debate, where the Democrats, to some extent or another, because even if the Democrats are totally co-opted, they're still willing to cheat within the bounds of politics. And the Republicans have given up even the pretense, which is a big difference. And Trump has made that possible, has made that necessary, has made that clear. And it's obvious that the Republican representatives in the House and the Senate are just a bunch of cowards. Like, all they want is their job. It's the only thing they care about. It's the only thing they work towards. And the only way they keep their job is by supporting the interests of the rich and powerful. So donate, work at the polls, phone bank, vote. Do your best, because they got to lose, and they got to lose big. I'll include links to my other stuff, my podcast and such. Like this, share this, if that's something you feel comfortable doing. Trying to provide what I think to be some clear insight that is not provided elsewhere. And if you think that's valuable, let me know. And if you think I've gotten it wrong, or you think that there's a better way I could be doing this, also hit me up. Thank you.